The Tennessean ran an article by a writer named Leah Hudson, and it's titled, "Feeding the Animals Makes Them Dependent." Yeah. I'm sure you see where this is going. So she says the following: any park ranger will tell you, don't feed wildlife. The reason behind this is that they become dependent and will not forage for themselves any longer. A disturbing trend is affecting American wildlife. Animals that formerly were self-sufficient are now showing signs of belonging to the Democratic Party. They have apparently learned to just sit and wait for the government to step in and provide for their care and sustenance. Isn't this what Hillary and the Democratic Party are doing? Continuing to make more and more people dependent by continuing to feed them? Food stamps, children's lunch programs, child care programs, housing subsidies, farm subsidies, student loans. The list is endless. Okay. Where do I begin with this? So, it's bullshit. I mean, there's no other way to couch it. There's no other way to soften the landing here. The International Business Times has a good piece explaining why this is bullshit. They say, the welfare queen stereotype has little factual basis. According to the Economic Policy Institute, 2/3 of people on needs-based public assistance are either working or have a family member who's working. About half of all recipients of public assistance are working full-time. So, on top of that, you do know that these programs all have time restrictions and requirements, right? So in other words, you get unemployment, for example, that doesn't last forever. She's arguing like, well, you know, these animals, what are you going to do? You feed them a little bit, they keep coming back. 8 years later, they keep going, whoa. Do you not even know how these programs function? Do you not even know it cuts you off at a certain point? Do you not get that? Do you not get that, for example, you have to prove that you went searching for a job? Do you not understand these things? No, because you don't care about basic facts, because you're a right-wing hack who's arguing based off of your emotions. My mammy and daddy done taught me that these damn, I'm not going to say the N-word, but you know what I mean, down the street, they on welfare all the time, and it's the hard-working white folks that do all the work and sustain them white power. Okay, but none of that is true. None of that is true. Furthermore, as we've covered, when you actually go to the data, you find out, it's red states that are the biggest net tax receivers. So you know what that means, right? According to your own logic, it's the red states that are the biggest parasites and moochers and lazy sons of bitches. It's the blue states that are the net taxpayers. Now, again, is it fair for me to say, well, I guess all these Republicans are just parasites and moochers and animals? You're like, animals. No, I wouldn't say that. You want to know why? I'm a decent human being. Furthermore, you dig further into the data, you find out very quickly the people who are mostly receiving this stuff, it's veterans. It's disabled people and handicapped people and senior citizens and people who've been looking for a job but they can't find a job and they're left behind by the system. People who sometimes work a full-time job. They work full-time, but they don't make enough money to survive. It ain't their fault. They're doing their part. The system is the problem in that instance. When you work full-time and you don't make a living wage, it ain't that person's fault now, is it? They're working full-time. But she does animals. Oh, yeah. Oh, you work full time, but you still need some help? Oh, gross. And that's what you're like. You're like an animal. If you had this woman need help, how quickly her opinion would change. This is always what happens with the right-wingers. Always. Unless it affects them directly, I'm judging the shit out of you and I'm coming to dumbass conclusions. You know, how many Republicans, I'm against gay marriage, I'm against it. Oh, shit, my kid is gay? You know, maybe I can kind of see where the liberals are coming from. You know, what are you going to do? There are Republicans who voted against disaster relief funding for New York when Hurricane Sandy hit. A few months later, there's some flooding in their state. all of a sudden they go run into the government. I need the money. People are hurting. What are you going to do? Help me, help me, help me. Where the fuck was that concern when it was people you didn't know in New York? It wasn't there because it didn't affect you, because you're an idiot and you can't think things through and put yourself outside of your own narrow-minded perspective for a split second, for a little bit. You can't do it. You can't do it because you're a moron. Because you're a moron. They don't get it. They're putting themselves on display, embarrassing themselves for the world to see. Like, she thinks she's nailing it in this article. Haha, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna tell people, parasite, moocher, lazy, animal. You need to feed your kid, and you need food stamps to do it, even though you work full time. Animal. This is what you do. This is how you act, and they think they're nailing it. You're not more intelligent. If this is your ideology, you're less intelligent.